If I can hang this over my head and it doesn't flop, then you have a good thick bowl of cream of rice. Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make the perfect cream of rice. Now, I've been eating this meal every single day for probably the past 2 years. It is my go-to post-workout meal. First things first, we gotta get a pot of water boiling. So in this recipe, I'm doing like 70 grams of cream of rice, so I'm only gonna do a cup of water with that. I see a lot of people cooking in the microwave rather than on the stovetop, and I think you're making a big mistake. Yes, it's convenient, yes, it's quick, but when you do it on the stove, the texture comes out so much better and it's so much more thicker. Plus, you're cooking on an open flame, so you have way better control of the temperature. So I'm just gonna add a few cranks of salt while the water gets to a boil. And then while that goes, I'm gonna start weighing out my cream of rice. So like I said, in this recipe, I'm doing 70 grams of cream of rice, so I'm only gonna do a cup of water. One serving of cream of rice is 45 grams and it calls for 1 cup of water. I like mine to be a little bit thicker, so ideally for 70 grams, I'd probably do a cup and a quarter of water, but you kind of get the gist. Rule of thumb is for every 45, 50 grams of cream of rice, do around a cup of water. Boom, 70 grams on the dot. Now that that's all weighed out, the water's still boiling, I'm gonna prep my fruit. I usually do 100 grams of fruit, and today, this is where you gotta kind of think about what protein powder you're using. So I'm using a peanut butter one. So obviously, I'm not gonna add like raspberries or strawberries in there, but a banana is gonna go perfect. So I'm gonna do 100 grams of fruit. Honestly, just gonna throw this whole banana in there. But I'm gonna be efficient with my time. I'm gonna dice it up while that's still boiling. Let me get a separate little dish. As you can see, the water is rumbling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop in the cream of rice, and while I do that, I'm gonna lower the heat to low. Make sure too that you grab a whisk, because you want to avoid any sort of clumping. And as soon as you drop the cream of rice in, you want to start mixing immediately. So I usually just give it one good mix, then I'll usually let it rest for 60 seconds and keep mixing and continue that process until it thickens up and gets to a nice consistency. And also here too, you can kind of play around with the temperature. That's the importance of doing it on the stovetop. Thing with the microwave is you're doing the same sort of process. You'll put it in for 30 seconds, take it out, mix it. But with this, you can constantly mix throughout as it's heating. So as you can see, it's already starting to thicken up. And it really only takes like a minute or two to cook. So what I do is I kind of stir it on low heat constantly for around like maybe just a little over a minute. And once the water is all kind of absorbed, you see it's getting there. But once the water is all absorbed, I'll take it completely off the heat and just let it sit for a minute or two. And then it'll kind of dry up, get to a nice thick consistency. So usually about right here is when I pull it off. As you can see, like it's thick. It's still moving a little bit, but after we let it sit for a bit, it's gonna harden up and get to a good consistency. So while I let that wait, I'm gonna weigh out my protein powder. Like I said, I got the peanut butter flavor from Like a Pro. And I always do 50 grams of protein. So this one has 25 grams per scoop. So I'm just gonna do 2 scoops of this, which is like 61 grams of powder. If you go a little over, it's not the end of the world. Protein. So as you can see, she's nice and thick. This is the test I usually go by. If I can hang this over my head and it doesn't flop, then you have a good thick bowl of cream of rice, as you can see. So now it is time to add, first you add the protein powder, get that nice incorporated, mix that in. Oh my God, it smells so good. So as you can see, it did get a little bit less thick after adding the protein powder. Then we're just gonna dump in the bananas. Add a little bit more salt. Mix everything together. And boom, There you have it. That is how you make the perfect cream of rice. Let's give it a taste test. Get a nice banana in there. Texture is perfect. Temperature is perfect. Taste is perfect. Now you guys know how to make the perfect bowl of cream of rice. I'm telling you, stovetop over the microwave. If you're worried about having to clean an extra dish, just do what I do and eat it right out of the pot.